Today we got 10 of the worst WWE matches in 2025. I am hoping that we see, more than likely, we're probably going to see the Jey Uso versus Gunther when Jey made Gunther tap out. People, for some odd reason, hated that match. I don't know if it was because of Jey or it was just the match in general, but me personally, the worst match by far probably had to be that CM Punk versus Jey Uso one. And it wasn't necessarily on CM Punk, but let's see. Come on.
All things considered, 2025 was a pretty good year for WWE inside the squared circle.
A little bit.
I suppose when the head booker, chief content officer, has a preference for booking 4 and 5 match cards, the chances of getting a match that completely sucks decreases significantly. But while 2025 might have had its share of bangers and
Bro, listen, even though this video is about 10 of the worst WWE matches, can we all agree that I did not expect this? But all of KO matches, Kevin Owens matches, bro, been pretty fire, bro. He is probably the best like extreme matches, in my personal opinion, that we have seen like in a minute. I love when he's in the ring.
couple of genuine classics, there were also a few stinkers to be found, whether they were ruined by the booking, botches, or some other bad ideas. I'm Sam Driver from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 worst WWE matches of 2025. Join us! Number 10, Aleister Black and Zelina Vega versus Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest on SmackDown December 12th. The main event of the December 12th, 2025 edition of SmackDown saw the Terror Twins taking on IRL husband and wife duo Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. A feud between the male contingent had been...
Bro, can we all agree that I don't know what happened to Damian Priest, but it seemed like WWE he went from being this top superstar to like no one really just cares about him no more. Like they just downgraded his whole character for whatever reason. It's so weird. It's kind of like the issue that's going on with AJ Styles right now. AJ Styles is a great wrestler, but I don't think he should be going in the direction of tag team. You feel me? I feel like he should be going for like the World Heavyweight Champion or WWE Championship, whatever, the Universal Championship. It's kind of like how they're doing Damian Priest in this situation. You really don't see him on the screen not like that.
Brewing for months, but this was very far from a heated, hate-filled affair. What it actually was a very patchy effort that featured several noticeable botches and awkward moments, one of which
there's a lot of botches this year.
Vega's career. Zelina and Rhea were the focus of the match and worked the bulk of it. Despite Mammy having a pretty damn good year in the ring, all told, her and Zelina couldn't get on the same page and things just seemed to get worse as they wore on. The worst moment was, of course, the two women making a right hash of Vega countering a Riptide into a code red, resulting in a genuinely scary landing. When Black and Priest were in there, things were a little better.
Bro, I don't know what it is, and I'm not necessarily sure if it's like necessarily Rhea fault or Zelina fault, but you see it a lot with the female wrestlers. You would have like one like tall female wrestler, and they go against somebody that's like real like short female wrestler. For some odd reason, you really don't get a good match out of those. The last time you ever seen that was when like maybe like I could go way back. Maybe we had Beth Phoenix versus Mickie James. Beth Phoenix was this big swole woman, and then Mickie James was so tiny. But it seems like that those type of matches where you got someone as gigantic as Rhea Ripley is going against Zelina, who's like real small. For some reason, you can't do certain moves, or you would have to do like you have to put yourself in a weird position that's gonna look funny, but you're actually trying to just make the move work. It's different with Rey Mysterio because he's a high flyer and he's able to do all these crazy moves, so he just makes every match just look good. But I noticed that about like female wrestlers. Every time it's like a real short one and they're going against somebody like real tall, it's so weird. I forgot how tall Zelina is. She might be like 5 foot something, four something. I don't even know. She's definitely shorter than Liv Morgan, definitely. But
But even then, there were a couple of sloppy moments. The camera caught Alistair bumping well before being hit with a clothesline, for example. The occasional cool spot, a stereo moonsault to the floor and stereo razor's edges, weren't enough to save this one, which WWE inexplicably uploaded onto their YouTube channel completely uncut. Number 9, Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella at
Oh my
Clash
God.
Impact.
I seen this, bro. Me personally, I don't understand why Nikki Bella gets so much of a crazy push that she do. I don't get it. She's not a good wrestler to me. I feel like that her sister Brie Bella was way better. Way better than her, especially when it comes out to being in the ring. I don't know. I could be cherry, but I really don't like her wrestling thing. I really don't like her wrestling at all. It's not good.
Now, wrestling fans love a good comeback story, and like her or not, it was heartening to see Nikki Bella return to WWE proper 8 years after retiring due to neck issues, especially when you consider everything that she's been through in her personal life in recent times. But even members of the so-called Bella Army would probably be forced to admit that Nikki's performance in a match with Women's IC champion Becky Lynch at Clash in Paris left a lot to be desired. Brie's sister was clearly, shall we say, rusty in her first major singles match since 2018.
It's never been
not
good,
like
though.
Becky was putting forth some great effort to get over the hump, as evidenced by her dodgy selling during that ridiculous announce table spot. Their worst offense was certainly Nikki's attempted disaster kick, which missed by a good 2 feet, as Wade Barrett on commentary did everything but bust out Jim Ross's old bowling shoe ugly line. 13 long minutes they were out there before Lynch got the win with a backslide to mercifully end things. Number 8, Tiffany Stratton versus...
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like this not no Nikki Bella hate or nothing like that, but she's not a good wrestler, bro. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's the looks. I don't know, but all of the matches that she has had with like previous people, bro, I never liked it. Bro. It feel like she ruins it. I don't know.
Versus Nia Jax versus Jade Cargill on
Nia Jax,
SmackDown,
Jade Cargill?
September 26th. In the main event of the September 26, 2025 episode of SmackDown, Tiffany Stratton defended a women's title against Nia Jax and Jade Cargill in a triple threat match. The match they'd laid out wasn't half bad, with some interesting spots and sequences designed to keep the audience guessing.
But you know what's crazy? These aren't bad wrestlers. And Nia Jax, she's a great wrestler. She just gotta kind of like chill when it comes down to the injuries. I believe on this one, she had cut open Jade Cargill. I think she threw her. I think I just wrong different people, but I think she had threw her to the damn staircase. Her wrestling is so, the way she wrestles, it's kind of like she kind of goes overboard on like certain moves. And that's like been a big thing within like this year, where like some wrestlers, they go overboard to the point where they just ruin like the whole match. You know, like the match will be going good, then they just ruined it, and then people get cut open. Now you gotta hurry up and speed up the match. This wasn't a bad match at all whatsoever. I just think once Nia Jax did what she did, just kind of just like ruined it a little bit. She's not a bad wrestler. She just overboards everything.
As to who would walk away with the belt. But in practice, the match was noticeably sloppy in parts and completely fell apart, heading towards train wreck territory by the end. While you could forgive stuff like Stratton whiffing on a dive or them being a little slow with this or that, it's harder to look past Jade getting her face busted up after Nia forcefully threw her into the steel steps, or the total cluster that was the finish. In it, Tiffany broke up Cargill's pin on Jax and then went for the cover herself, only for the referee to inexplicably stop counting the pin at 2, claiming that Nia had kicked out. Stratton then improvised with the prettiest moonsault ever to retain, but the match had already been ruined. Naturally, when WWE uploaded this one to their YouTube, they cleaned up the finish by removing the botched spot. And that is why we have Matthew Gregg. Number 7, Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa at SummerSlam Night 2.
I forgot what happened here.
A steel cage match for the United States title between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu sounds like an appealing prospect. 2 big Samoan hosses beating the hell out of each other in this environment, on a major show like SummerSlam, no less. It could and
ruined this
perhaps
match?
should have been great. Alas, rather than being heated and full of hatred and violence, this was just a slow, dull, plodding cage match that fans in the stadium didn't really care much about until the overbooking really kicked in with all the interference.
Yeah.
Really, the bloodline run-in.
Now listen, hear me out, right? The Jacob Fatu is okay, so when it comes down to like overall just like wrestler, when it comes down to like their promos and all that stuff, the matches, Jacob Fatu definitely has like the best matches. So when he debuted, it was absolute like crazy. He was great on the mic, and along that his in-ring skills was very, very good. Solo Sikoa, he's great when it comes down to promo. He's like a very, very funny heel to me. He really is, but I never really just enjoyed his like in-ring matches. So sometimes when you have like one wrestler who is very, very good in the ring and the other one is really not that good, it kind of caused like a little bit like confusion, you know, to the point where it makes it seem like that the match was dual, but the whole time it was just the other superstars because they're really not that good in the ring. Me personally, if you ask me, it's funny how this picture is shown right here. Personally, me, even though he doesn't get that much attention, he's always on like TV screen. He doesn't get that much attention when it comes to like crazy matches. But I love Jimmy. Jimmy's a great wrestler inside the ring. He's also great at promo, way better than Jay in my personal opinion. I would love to see Jimmy get more like single action and hopefully go for the IC championship or the US championship, one of the two. He definitely needs to get in the ring more, 100%, because he's really good at it.
Were beyond played out at this point, and they only served to drag this one down further. Plus, you know, it's a bloody cage match, so the whole point is to try and keep people out. There were some flashes of decent work in there, but between the interference, the dumb handcuff spot immediately following a match where one of the participants was handcuffed for a chunk of it, and the lame ending, this was a huge disappointment. Number 6, Brock Lesnar versus John Cena at WrestlePalooza. WWE really hit a nerve with many fans by bringing Brock Lesnar back 2 years after his last appearance to attack John Cena after Cena dropped the WWE title to Cody Rhodes in the main event of SummerSlam Sunday. With Cena running it back with some of his greatest rivals during his The Final Time Is Now retirement tour, WWE booked the 17-time world champion against The Beast in the opener of WrestlePalooza, WWE's first PLE on ESPN. And while Brock's steamrolling and squashing Cena with suplexes and F5s might have been shocking when it happened at SummerSlam 2014, 11 years later, there was a real case of we've seen all this before and don't really want to see it again. This was predictable, uninspired Cena.
This is my thing, though. It's just that did John Cena win this match or lose this match? Something happened. I forgot, but when Brock Lesnar came out, he did what he did, you know, his crazy suplexes, F5 just dominated Cena. There was no storyline to it all whatsoever. It seemed like, okay, what's the point in this? It was so random. I didn't get it. I don't know.
A Lesnar formula fare that felt like a total waste of one of Cena's last ever matches. Brock didn't even need the rub at this stage in the game, and Cena, a babyface once more, didn't need to get snuffed like this a couple of months before hanging up the jorts for good. Number 5, Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn at SummerSlam Night 1. There was a groundswell of support for Karrion Kross in 2025, with fans vocally taking up for a talent that they felt had not received the push his talent and efforts deserved. Well, they might have liked the promos and the character work and the idea of Karrion Kross, but when the bell rang at SummerSlam 2025, it showed that the former NXT champion was perhaps not cut out for the high-profile spot his supporters wanted him to have. Matched against Sami Zayn, who had a terrific 2025 in-ring all told, Karrion dogged it in what turned out to be his future endeavors send-off as he left the company soon after. Their storyline hadn't been great, and the drama of will Sami use the steel pipe didn't really make for a compelling thread here.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I know who the guy is, Kross, but I never seen his like wrestling skills in general. I always seen him do like segments with like AJ Styles, pretty much trying to get AJ Styles to like turn heel, that whole storyline. I didn't get too much caught up to it, to like the ending of it, to see if there was even like a final thing with it on like what it led up to. But I didn't even know about this. I didn't even know that he got cut.
Said plainly, the match was boring and it dragged,
worst match.
feeling as though it lasted
I think
double
he got
the
cut
8
as well,
minutes they
though.
were given before Zayn cleanly pinned Cross to send him back to the Indies. Their whole series was a
I want
big
Cena to
mess,
go
and they
heel
saved
so
the
bad,
worst
dude.
for last. Number 4, John Cena versus R-Truth
Really?
on SmackDown, June 20th. On June 1st, 2025, R-Truth informed fans that WWE were not going to renew his contract and he would leave the company upon its expiry, bringing to an end his 17-year run. In that time, Truth had built up a lot of goodwill with WWE fans who were angry to see the company unceremoniously dump him. Their voices were heard, and Truth was quickly brought back, though not as the happy-go-lucky comedy character that he'd been before.
Brown Bait didn't
A
do nothing with
motivated
him.
Ron Killings going up against a heel John Cena could have been something special, but their match on the June 20th edition of SmackDown was anything but. They did barely anything for the 6 minutes they were out there, their exchanges lacking any fire or intensity. It's not a match that was full of noticeable mistakes or anything like that. It was just an arbitrary go-through-the-motions TV affair that ended with a rotten disqualification and clearly served only as a pretext for the post-match angle with CM Punk and Cena.
See, I wouldn't count this as a worst WWE match because, you know, it's no credit. Don't get me wrong, it's no discredit to R-Truth. He's definitely good in the ring compared to like some wrestlers, but I feel like that the reason why they probably put this on there was just because there was no direction towards it, maybe. Whereas like, okay, R-Truth turns heel after this happened, and then, you know, I get it, but I feel like that they should have done more with this story. But you really can't expect to have a great match, like a great match with, you know, basically part-time retired John Cena, old John Cena, and R-Truth. You know, you really can't expect the best of the best of this match. But that's kind of interesting that he put this on here.
Cena's admittedly good recreation of Punk's infamous pipe bomb promo.
Yeah.
A major missed opportunity that felt like another waste of one of Cena's limited dates. Number 3, Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair.
Oh
at
my God,
WrestleMania
I
41
hated this
Night
match.
1. The fact that Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair's WrestleMania.
Bro, didn't they have beef in real life? Am I mistaken? Weren't they beefing about Kaiser or some shit like that, bro? I know I'm not tripping, but yeah, this is. I remember watching this match and I just turned away from it. I just waited for the next match, bro. And it wasn't necessarily on Tiffany Stratton, but Charlotte Flair. For me, bro, Charlotte Flair gets that damn Nikki Bella treatment to the point where Charlotte Flair is not good in the ring or good in promos. I really feel like that's the reason why she got the big push that she did, in my personal opinion, professional opinion, is that her father was Ric Flair. It's only right. Charlotte Flair, let's give her a push, but I don't. She's not a great wrestler to me, and I didn't like none of her matches. I really didn't.
The women's title match took place at all is something of a minor
Very
miracle,
ring performance,
given
like,
that
very
promo
sloppy.
segment that went completely off the rails and threatened to put WWE's booking in danger. But while they were able to put their personal feelings to one side and work together in the ring as scheduled, there was not to be a miracle when it came to the match fulfilling its promise, as it never threatened to get good. They had 20 minutes to play with and clearly didn't have the chemistry, timing, or story to fill all that time. It was sloppy, with noticeable awkward exchanges and some instances of clear sandbagging. Yes, they did some athletic stuff because they're both very athletic individuals, but the match fell way below what they should be capable of producing together. Also, and I'm sure I'm not alone here, but it was annoyingly distracting trying to figure out who the hell was doing what to whom, since they both have long blonde hair and wore almost identical gear, giving us a kit clash to go with the styles clash. Number 2, Chelsea Green versus Zelina Vega on Saturday night's main event, May 24th. Look, we all love Chelsea Green and her ability to maximize her minutes and get over through sheer force of willpower, but her 2025 in the ring was far from great, particularly when it came to a series over the Women's United States Championship with Zelina Vega. Their non-title match on the April 11th edition of SmackDown was a bad omen, as Chelsea was counted out after only a minute when she didn't return to the ring in time, putting a premature end to a bout that was planned to go longer. But going longer wasn't the best option if their US title match from Saturday night's main event is anything to go by. Evidently having little chemistry during an off night all round, the two couldn't get on the same page, resulting in some very sloppy and mistimed sequences. The worst of the botches came just before the finish, as Vega messed up a 619 and, in her attempt to salvage the spot, kicked Green in the nose, breaking it. The top rope code red looked nice, but it wasn't enough to save what had been an amateurish outing overall. And number 1, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena at WrestleMania 41 Night 2. If there's one match you don't want to get wrong, it's the main event of bloody WrestleMania. Especially if this is John Cena's last ever WrestleMania and the match in which he breaks the record to win his 17th world title. Unfortunately, WWE got it all wrong and ruined what should have been an epic match and moment.
They ruined everything,
Unlike
man.
the explosive balls-out battle they later had at SummerSlam, this one was slow, dull, and felt like it would never end. Cena, working as a heel for the first time in forever, took most of the match and dictated a glacial pace, which would have been fine in theory had Cody made a fiery comeback.
Right.
But that's not what we got. Instead, we got Travis Pissin Scott. Yes, instead of the final boss, we were treated to the rapper WWE shoehorned into this whole storyline for no other reason than for the clout and mainstream attention his appearance would theoretically bring. Well,
this man pretty much slapped the hell out of Cody. But you know what's so crazy? I'm kind of surprised that the Jey Uso versus Gunther match wasn't on here. That was not a good match at all whatsoever. I feel like they could have replaced that John Cena versus R-Truth with that one, 100%. But comment down below, man, which one you guys think. Well, comment down below, man, what was the worst match in WWE 2025, bro? This was a great video.